Welcome back to Skippers, presented by Owner's Box Fantasy Sports. Today's segment, must draft infielder. Season's almost here. Draft season's almost over. We're going to give you a couple more before the start of the season, though. So 4 players we think you must draft in your drafts if you have the ability to select them. You want to get in your first guy, Jer?
Yeah, like Avery said, must draft. You can also trade for these guys. We think that they have value and they're going to exceed their ADP. So my first guy is going to Oakland, and I'm going to go Matt Chapman. Obviously, we know he got injured last year, sort of halfway through. The guy rakes. I mean, you look at his hitting stats on Baseball Savant, and just his exit velo was 93 last year. That's top 2%. But you look, and it wasn't an outlier. This guy just always hits the ball really hard. And the only outlier I found was his K percentage, which was 35% last year, which is super high. He's usually in the low 20s. So if that's an outlier. I mean, this guy can only get better next year. He hits 3 in that lineup. I mean, he is the Oakland offense pretty much. We know what he can do defensively, but the guy does have hitting abilities, and his launch angle was super high last year. And I think that was also because of that we talked about the kind of older guys, more veteran guys with the not being able to look at their swing. I mean, it adds up. His launch angle was messed up and his strikeout percentage was super high. So I think he just couldn't review his swing as much. And that was the reason why I really like him at where he is in his ADP, which is 101. And he's ranked as the number 10 third baseman.
Love that. I'm big on Matt Chapman as well, so I love that pick. Getting to my guy. This is a guy that I originally did not like this year. He was going to be in my must avoid, but the more and more we talk about him, the more I've just fallen in love with this guy's game and his value, and that's Ketel Marte of the Arizona Diamondbacks. I mean, his ADP is 70. It's a little high for some of these videos that we've done, but he saw some regression last year. But his 2019 was one of the most impressive seasons you'll ever see for a guy like middle infield eligibility, let alone second base eligibility. 2019, 329 with 32 homers, 92 RBIs, and more than 10 stolen bases. I'd never count on him to hit 30 home runs this year, but you see he's an average hitter. I'm going to say, so this year for me, I think Ketel Marte is hitting 295, 23 home runs, 75 RBIs, and at least 10 stolen bases. That type of production is pretty much unheard of from a guy that you're going to slide in at second base in any of your fantasy teams. So I just think it's like some of the greatest value you can have in your drafts. I mean, also, he absolutely torches baseballs. Earlier in this year, you looked at the StatCast numbers from the spring, and he had 3 of the 10 hardest hit balls. And just an awesome exit velocity last year. His max exit velocity was 116.3, which was top 10 in the league. And then he also had one of the top 10 furthest home runs at 482 feet. I mean, he's just an exciting player to watch. Hit at the top of that Diamondbacks lineup. That's going to be kind of crappy. You don't really want to watch him, but he's a spark plug there. And I love Ketel Marte this year.
Yeah, I think you talk about kind of him being at second base. He's got that eligibility kind of like all over the field. I believe he's going to be getting outfield eligibility as well. They might even be putting him there. So getting that dual kind of eligibility is always beneficial. I'm going shortstop. I'm going former number 1 overall pick, Dansby, coming from the Braves there. I think that, he was obviously didn't perform like everyone thought he was as the number 1 coming from Vanderbilt. But you know what? He's slowly starting to get into his form of the guy that we were expecting. I mean, 10 to 11% barrel percentage the past 2 years. His K percentage was high last year, and that's kind of the deciding factor of I think it's going to go down this year. He plays in that great lineup, hits 6 in that Braves deadly lineup. So I think I really do like Dansby, and I think he should be targeting a lot of drafts. He's a middle kind of the pack shortstop that you can get pretty late in drafts at number 12, and he can be in your starting lineup. And I think that he's a great pick, and I do think that he's a must draft if you're looking for a shortstop late. I think it would be Dansby at target.
Yeah, I like Dansby too. I mean, he pretty much does everything. He's a reliable guy. Yeah, pretty much covers most categories of homers. So I'll go and get my next draft guy, and that's someone I've been taking pretty much all of my drafts. I didn't know he was a must draft guy until I just started taking him all over the place. That's Rhys Hoskins, first baseman for the Philadelphia Phillies. His value is at an all-time low right now. People are sleeping on Rhys Hoskins this year. He came off Tommy John surgery. I mean, for hitters, it's a lot different than pitchers, but still, it's not a great look for someone you want to take in your drafts. When you look at his 2018 and 2019, I kind of look at both of those to kind of project what I think he'll do this year. And I'm thinking easily 30 home runs and 90 RBIs from a guy who's going to hit, or also is a solid walk rate and a guy who's going to hit in the middle of that Phillies lineup, who I think are going to be better this year. I mean, what makes me love him so much is his ADP is 138, and you look at a guy like Pete Alonso, his ADP is 49. I think we're gonna get Pete Alonso type numbers from Rhys Hoskins this year, 90 picks later, and that makes me love that value, and that's why I'm all in on Rhys Hoskins.
Yeah, you talk about Rhys. I mean, the guy obviously has tremendous power, and obviously he didn't have a great year last year. But I mean, you look at who's in front of him, and you have Bryce Harper. I mean, he's an elite on base guy, and just having those opportunities for RBIs is just other teams just don't have it. Not everyone has a Bryce Harper or Juan Soto who gets on base so many times that it's just so beneficial for these RBI guys. I mean, you look at it, and he's going to have tons of opportunities to hit Bryce home. And I think that the Phillies in general, they should be a good team. I mean, they kind of didn't perform like everyone thought they were with the big Harper signing. But I do like this Phillies team. I do think that they're very good.
Yeah, JT coming back again.
Mhm.
But yeah, I like Rhys Hoskins. I like that team. Think there's good value there. So anything more from you, Jer?
No, I think we got to thank, our loyal listeners. They've been hitting that subscribe button. Keep hitting it. Make sure you drop a comment, ask us any questions you want. And excited for the season.
Yeah, new upcoming content soon when the
Mhm.
season starts. We're excited. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you guys next time.